It's Madison with Future Farm Hemp, and for week 5 of our education series, we're going to quickly cover just a couple of things. So, first off, we talked about anxiety last Friday, so make sure you go back and watch that one if you hadn't had a chance to yet. First of all, stress and anxiety within the body are actually treated in a very similar way when using CBD or hemp extract. Since they tend to be a similar feeling for a lot of people, they are in no way the same thing, but a lot of the symptoms can really correlate. I won't spend too much time on it today, but I do want to go over some of the most common symptoms and issues people have and how CBD can play a role in managing them. So sleep. We all need it. We all love it. If you're not getting quality sleep or can't stay asleep, CBD specifically as an isolated component, has actually been shown to help level that out. In larger doses, especially, we've seen great results, but for some people, even a small amount, couple drops, is all that's needed to see the effect that they want. So that's definitely something to look into if you're struggling with sleep in any way. Anxiety, like I mentioned before, while it's similar to stress in a lot of ways, someone who's under a great amount of stress may find themselves anxious or just on edge in general, which is completely normal and expected. We're not meant to withstand stress for prolonged periods of time, and if that's something that you're dealing with, something that you're in right now, it's very common to deal with. The two often come hand in hand, stress and anxiety, and the receptors throughout our bodies that send signals to our brain can actually naturally be influenced by the components in cannabis, and that is our endocannabinoid system, which we have talked about a couple times in my previous videos, but we're going to go deeper into that next week. We've also seen incredible results in companion animals as well. Cats, dogs, horses, they all have a very similar system to ours, the endocannabinoid system, although it varies per species, of course. We've seen it all from aggression to arthritis to chronic anxiety in our pets that negatively influence their lives and, by extension, your lives, because we love them and we care for them and we want them to be happy and healthy. This also should not be considered a trade-off for training in any way, but as far as improving the quality of life for your pet and for yourself, I think it's an incredible tool to have. There are a lot of products out there specifically geared towards animals in the hemp industry, and I think we're going to go into that in a couple weeks as well because it's really great information to have. I also wanted to touch on terminology really quick because there are so many terms in this industry that can mean something else, or maybe that meaning has evolved over time or changed a little bit. We as a country, as everyone knows, are kind of all over the place with laws and regulations concerning cannabis in all forms, psychoactive or not, and that can be difficult. It can really make it difficult to portray what you're trying to in an accurate way. So, a couple big ones real quick. Cannabis sativa sounds scary to a lot of people, but that's actually just hemp. Cannabis sativa is the scientific term for hemp, and that's an herbaceous plant that's actually widely used as medicine and industrial fiber. That is the actual definition. It can seem kind of intimidating for people who are new to the hemp space, but that is legitimately just the name. That's just what it is. Cannabinoids. I talk about them a lot because that is actually what CBD is. CBN, CBG, THC, all are little components, microscopic components that make up the cannabis plant. So the most studied group of naturally occurring chemical components in cannabis, and this is due to their wide range of therapeutic effects in mammals. So that's what we're studying. That's what we want to know all about. We want to know how it works, how it interacts with other medications, symptoms it can be used to help manage. We really want to get a hold of once now that we can actually study it a little more and talk about it freely. As I talked about in the first video, the Farm Bill made it so we can consume it, produce it, sell it, under an umbrella, of course. But a science and understanding of cannabis progresses, we're actually learning that individual compounds, CBD, CBN, THC, like I stated before, have the ability to target specific things when consumed on their own. So we all know a bit about CBD, but there are over 100 of those components in there that we haven't even scratched the surface of yet. So I'm really excited to see what happens when more of those long-term studies can come out now that we are able to take part in them. Marijuana, that's another one. Marijuana is just the general term for a female cannabis plant, or the dried flower that comes from the female plant. Female plants are the only ones that produce flower. That's really important to know for breeding, for genetics, for general knowledge overall. A lot of the time there's a psychoactive effect within the plant that this term is used. Not always, because marijuana technically can be a hemp plant too, but as the general consensus, when you say marijuana, people typically assume that you mean a plant with a psychoactive component to it. Like I said before, cannabis is the overall term for all of this. So if you just say cannabis, it is an accurate way to say it. It's just important to understand the different facets that come with it as well. Lastly, psychoactive. It's a thing we say a lot in Wisconsin here. The psychoactive plant that we consume does not exist. We're in the hemp space. Hemp, as I stated before, in Wisconsin needs to have a THC percentage less than 0.3%. So a good analogy we like to use is that THC in hemp, or our hemp products, is equivalent to the alcohol in cough syrup. Very minuscule, but important to be aware of. Psychoactive basically means a property that alters your brain function. It does this by interacting with the central nervous system and results in an altered perception or mood, consciousness, or behavior. So THC is the primary psychoactive component in cannabis plants, but I also like to take note of the fact that alcohol and caffeine are also psychoactive drugs that people commonly use to alter their mental state, daily, weekly for some people. These drugs, technically, are legally available but can still be harmful if taken in excess. So all are considered psychoactive, which ultimately means the high, or that feeling, that change in behavior, is part of the goal of taking that or consuming that product. I drink coffee every morning because I like to stay awake. People consume alcohol for a wide plethora of reasons. It's all about the terminology, and it's all about understanding how it will interact with your brain and the rest of your body. We think it's important to be aware of what these terms mean so you can get the most accurate information possible. Like I said before, our country is a little bit all over the place right now as to what is legal, what's not, what's considered helpful, what's considered a drug. It's always really important to know where you stand in your state, so please reach out to someone. A quick Google search isn't always helpful, so it's really important to have resources you can trust and count on. That is all I have today, actually. We are right in the middle of our back-to-school sale, so if you're looking to try a tincture, which I highly recommend, that's my favorite product we carry here, now is a great time to do so. You can go online, futurefarmhemp.com/shopping, or you can give us a call here at the lab. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for listening, guys. As always, you can submit any questions you have through Facebook. Give us a call or stop on in. We're on 8th Avenue in Baldwin, and we'd be happy to see you guys. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.